Hot flashes can be one of the most dreaded symptoms of menopause, with over 70% of aging women suffering from them. In this video, I'm going to go over 2 theories as to why these hot flashes are occurring and how the ketogenic diet can cool you down. The 2 theories we're going to mention of hot flashes are the glucose-brain connection and the insulin resistance theory. Due to hormonal changes in our body, we develop insulin resistance. It's how our body chemically reacts to this hormone imbalance. Estrogen and insulin are 2 hormones that work together, but you're probably wondering, what does any of this have to do with hot flashes? Great question, but who am I anyway? Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Talita from Shrinking with Keto, and throughout my ketogenic journey, I have lost over 190 pounds and reversed my type 2 diabetes. Now, at the very young age of 32, I had a hysterectomy performed, tossing me directly into the menopausal pool and adding an extra 40 pounds to my already morbidly obese existence. Now, throughout this journey, I have helped and coached plenty of people reach their goal, and I hope I can do the same for you. In a study conducted of 151 postmenopausal women between the ages of 45 and 60, it was concluded that hot flashes are actually associated with insulin resistance. So what is insulin resistance? Well, it actually literally means that your cells are resistant to insulin. When we eat, insulin is produced by our pancreas, by our body, basically to take the sugar and put it into the cells for energy. When you feed yourself a constant supply of sugars and carbs, then your insulin is constantly elevated, nagging your cells to keep taking more sugar in. As your cells get tired of this nagging, then they stop responding to the insulin, and as a result, your pancreas produces more insulin in order to push this sugar back into the cells, leaving you with high blood insulin levels and triggering the dreaded hot flashes. So how can the ketogenic diet help with this insulin resistance? Well, not all food spikes insulin in the same way. You see, carbohydrates have the highest spike in insulin, and protein has a moderate spike in insulin. But there is one thing that has almost no effect on insulin, and that is fat. Fat has almost no spike in insulin. Now, the ketogenic diet is a high fat, which has no effect on your insulin, moderate protein with a moderate effect on your insulin, low carbohydrate diet. Now, remember, the carbohydrates are the ones that have the highest spike in insulin. So by reducing and eating a very low carb diet, guess what? You do not spike insulin. And as a result, you can reverse your insulin resistance and get rid of your hot flashes. If you want a more detailed video on exactly how to reverse your insulin resistance, all you have to do is check the video above. Before we move on to the glucose-brain connection, let me interrupt you for a second. If this is the first time you're seeing this pretty face, come on, let's make sure it's not the last. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and ring that bell icon so that YouTube can let you know every single time I make a new video for you. And please feel free to ask me anything you want down in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer every single one of your questions. Now, our brain's primary fuel source is glucose, all great and dandy there. And our brain needs glucose 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. But our brain can neither produce nor store glucose. So it is dependent by something to bring this energy up. Now, there is a transporter called GLUT1 that basically, think of it as a little boat, takes this glucose and transports it through the blood-brain barrier and into our brain so that it can fuel it properly. The only problem here is that when you're in menopause, well, your estrogen levels take a deep dive, and GLUT1 is dependent on, guess what? Estrogen. So you understand, with very low levels of estrogen, GLUT1 cannot properly do its job, therefore it's not properly fueling your brain. This raises cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and guess what it sets off? Hot flashes. Now, our brain does not only run on glucose, it can actually run on a second fuel source, which is ketone bodies. And it is actually a preferred fuel source for our brain because ketones are much more efficient in our brain. Now, by following a ketogenic diet, what you're going to do is you're going to have a metabolic shift in your body, and you're going to go from burning carbohydrates and glucose for fuel to burning fat and ketone bodies for fuel. And guess what? Ketones do not need any transporter to go through the blood-brain barrier and to fuel your brain. So ketone bodies can efficiently, without being dependent on estrogen, fuel your brain, therefore reducing the cortisol levels and guess what? Getting rid of those hot flashes. Now, if you have gotten any value out of this video, I will kindly ask you to press the thumbs up button, as this helps YouTube take this content and push it out to more people that need it, just like you. Now, if you want to start a ketogenic diet, all you have to do is check my video above that. It's going to take you through real time, step by step, on how to start the ketogenic diet right now. And as always, chin up, or you know by now, the crown slips.